This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
I'm here with Amelia Mocken of St Barnabas Hospice. The first Moonlight Walk this Saturday at Borderville Sports Centre. Your first time doing it in Stamford?
Yes, it is.
And tell us how it works broadly. What do people have to do to sign up to be part of it?
So people can sign up online if they go to www.stbarnabashospice.co.uk and click on the events. The Moonlight Walk's in there, or they can get a registration form from Borderville Sports Centre. We've also got a Facebook page as well. If you type in Moonlight Walk Stamford, it's £15 to sign up and £10 for children age over 11. And basically it's a 10k walk around Stamford. We've got lots of entertainment beforehand. We've got live bands, obviously Rob's coming along to compare on the night. We've got merchandise on sale. We've got Booty Boulevard there doing glitter on the face and hair, so it'll be a really great night.
And I know you've done this elsewhere before in Lincolnshire.
Yes, we've held one in Lincoln. It'll be in the 11th year now in Lincoln. I think they've had over 600 people take part before, raising over £44,000. So we're really hoping that we can build it up in Stamford. It's obviously the first time, but hopefully over the next few years we can build it up to be as big as that. And
tell us about St Barnabas Hospice, what you do and where you do it.
St Barnabas is the Lincolnshire Hospice, and we support the end-of-life care, so people with terminal illnesses.
And whereabouts are you based?
We cover the whole of Lincolnshire. We've got hospices in Lincolnshire, in Lincoln and Grantham, but we do support people all over the county.
What time does it get underway on Saturday night if people want to actually plan their evenings and be part of it?
Registration opens at 8 o'clock and the entertainment will start from then, and then the walk's actually starting at 9:30. We have brought this forward. It was 10 o'clock, but we've brought it forward slightly. And then everybody gets a free t-shirt and then a medal at the end, and they also get hot food at the end. So we're hoping it will finish about 12ish probably.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Thank you, Steve. Well, it's a bit breezy here, but I tell you what, wonderful sunshine here on Stamford Meadows for the Dog Show and Family Fun Day. I'm here with Judy from the Greyhound Trust, and you can obviously hear all the dogs in the background of various breeds. The dog shows are all underway. They're just opposite where the agility are. And Judy, greyhounds themselves, do they need specific help, would you say?
Specific help, yes, because the racing industry employs greyhounds from about 15, 18 months old when they start their puppy trials, only to about 3 years old, and then they're redundant and they need homes, they need somewhere to go. Things have improved vastly in recent years so that we're now rehoming more greyhounds than ever before, but there is always going to be a need for pet homes when they retire from racing.
And actually, as pets, they're really quite placid, docile, they sleep a lot. They're not high-maintenance dogs necessarily.
They're very easy dogs. You're absolutely right. They sleep probably 20 hours out of the 24 if they're allowed. They're very lazy dogs. They're the laziest dogs on the planet. They need perhaps 15 to 20 minutes twice a day in terms of exercise. A younger dog will need more. Younger dogs like to sprint, but they're not stayers. They won't go hiking with you not very happily. They tend to do what we call statuing. If you take them too far, they just stop and refuse to move.
Right, yes.
But they're easy in terms of looking after. They've got short, easy coats. The one thing they do need is teeth care because they, for some reason, maybe because they have such a wide gape and their mouths dry out, they tend to suffer a little bit from poor teeth.
And tell us about your stall here today. You're obviously fundraising for the Greyhound Trust, and people, I guess, listening to this can maybe find out if they'd like to adopt a greyhound as well.
Absolutely they can. We have information here. We have leaflets you can take away. There is a Facebook group and a website where you can visit and see what we're all about, what sort of dog you can expect if you take on a greyhound, and what their requirements are. You can also meet other people who have adopted and see what their experience is. This branch is called Bramblebury Greyhounds, and we're based near Spalding at the south end of Lincolnshire.
Lovely to see you here in Stamford today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Rutland Radio.
Thank you, Steve. I'm here with Stamford Dog Training, which is running the agility this year at the Dog Show and Family Fun Day with Julia Durrant, award-winning Julia Durrant of Crufts, of Ketton, of Stamford.
Well, only of the teams. I was one of 4 in the teams to win at Crufts. Yes, in the team event.
But actually, to be that kind of level, I mean, is it dependent on you, the dog? Is it like years of practice?
Yes, certainly years of practice, and the dog. The dog's got to be the right temperament to want to do the agility. Obviously, at the Crufts because of the arena and all the lights and the cameras and the people. So it's a really dogs absolutely thoroughly enjoy it. It's great entertainment for the dogs and for the people.
And actually, I suppose it is part of dog training as well, because dogs do need training. People, it sounds obvious, but not everyone actually goes down that route when they get a puppy, do they?
They don't, no, unfortunately. Some people, you do have to spend time with your dog. You need to connect with your dog. Your dog wants to be with you and you want to be with your dogs. You have to spend time. And also with puppies, I think it's expecting them to be puppies, not to have a puppy and they expect to behave like an adult. You know, these things take time.
So they are going to chew, possibly. They might actually, break things apart. They're just finding out.
Oh, definitely, yes. And I always say, if you leave your shoes down and a puppy comes along and chews it, it's naturally not the puppy's fault.
And tell us about Perfect Parker and the other dog you've got here today, Freddie, did you say?
No, it's Perfect Parker and then it's Russell. He's actually a grade 7 champ level dog and he's won his first ticket. So he's going to be at Crufts next March, as well as Parker, in the championship final on the Sunday.
How amazing. And there they both are. They want to be on the radio, don't you? You want to be on the radio, boys. There you go. Right, we shall see you later.
Yeah, there's not just 2 there are 7 there.
That's why it's so loud.
Yes.
But, I mean, actually, competing at Crufts, though, I mean, everyone knows Crufts, don't they?
They do. I mean, there are other bigger shows. There's like the Olympia, which I've actually never managed to qualify for, which I suppose I should go to round to qualify for that. But no, I love Crufts. I just think it's a great entertainment for the crowd to watch. And I think it's great for people to actually interact with their dogs. So, and you don't have to run to do agility. You can send them on. So, and that's why agility is for all ages. It's not just for the young, because I'm certainly not young.
Yes, you don't look anything but young, Julia. Thank you very much for joining us here on Rutland Radio today. Now, you're going to be doing demonstrations and also I have a chance to run with Perfect Parker.
You do. My Perfect Parker would love to run, yes. With
what
you.
An honour. Can't wait to do that.
Little Perfect Parker. You haven't met him yet.
No, I haven't met him yet, no, but I'm sure it'll be great.
There's not much of him, he's only 5 kilograms.
Rutland Radio.
Thank you, Steve. I'm here with Terry Cook of Mutts Nuts. Now, we think of Mutts Nuts obviously as the dog rehoming charity and also helping those who just need a break when they're going to hospital, and you can care for their dogs in the meantime. But you have a load of cats as well that you like to rehome.
Yes, we do, thanks Rob. Cats as well as dogs, and interestingly at the minute we have a greater demand for the cats. Cats are a little bit slower to rehome for a variety of reasons, especially the older ones. But they do make brilliant pets, as everybody knows. They're easy. We've got some lovely cats in at the minute, adorable cats, right through from age 3 to age 15. So if you're, bizarrely, even though you're here at a dog show, if you're interested in cats, we think we can answer your need. And if you can come to our stall, the Mutts Nuts Rescue, you can come and see pictures and we can tell you all about them.
And as you say, the older cats, they don't necessarily need an awful lot in a lot of cases.
They really don't. They just need a comfy place to curl up, regular feeding and a bit of a fuss. They really are the most straightforward option. And bless them, through no fault of their own, they end up in rescue. And we don't want them to just languish in a rescue environment. We just need to get them a lovely, loving home for them to see their lives out.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Thank you, Steve. I'm here with George Hetherington, who's here actually today representing Second Helpings. But this dog show was your idea over how many years ago? 12 years ago now?
It was my idea 13 years ago. The church was fundraising for refurbishment I'd already run a dog show when I lived in London for the Sydenham Children's Hospital. So I said, why don't we have a dog show? And they turned their noses up at it, really. I said, well, I'll organise it.
And look at it now. Look at how many people are here in the sunshine and stuff.
It's gone from strength to strength every year. I mean, I'm not involved in the setting up or any of the organisation now, which is the way I like it. I'll set something up and then happily move on.
And Second Helpings has fed over 10,000 people now since it started.
Yeah, we're nearly at 10,500 already. We'll be 3 years old in October, and we're celebrating our third birthday on the 3rd of November, should anyone want to come and share with us.
And it is all about sharing food that otherwise would be thrown away by supermarkets, because they get to a stage that is perfectly good, the date goes over and it needs to go somewhere, and it would go to landfill if it didn't go to projects like yours.
Yeah, well, we get it actually on its sell-by date. They won't give us it before and they won't give us it afterwards. If I went to Waitrose the next morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, they wouldn't give it to me because it was at yesterday's date.
So they're not able to sell it legally?
They're not able to sell it. But there's some crazy things happening. I mean, I had 105 kilo of bananas given one day because the manufacturer hadn't put a date on the box. So the supermarket had it and couldn't sell it because there was no date to guidelines. And they would have binned it.
So on a Thursday and Friday, people can pop along to the church and actually pay what they feel, what they can afford for some of your kind of excess stock. And then on the Saturday is the cafe every week.
Yeah, well, we operate the pay-as-you-feel system. It's actually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday now, 1 till 3, where anybody can come. Those in need, fine. Those who want to save waste, fine. Those who want to make a donation, fine. It doesn't matter. But yes, and this week, the bunker, as we call it, in the basement, we've had 51 people in there for food. We operate really like the food bank, but we can offer fresh fruit and vegetables, and we don't need a certificate to say that they need anything.
It's an amazing project, isn't it? And it seems to have come kind of at the right time when people are thinking actually of all the stuff that we are throwing away and that we don't need to.
I think the founder of the Real Junk Food Project, Adam Smith, who we followed into this, has been very largely responsible for this. He's made it almost fashionable now for the media to look at food waste and what's happening. And so you should, because a third of all the world's food goes to landfill. And if you're thinking of the environment, the CO2 gases coming from that landfill are the equivalent of the third largest country in the world. So you've got Russia and China, America and China at the top, and then it's a landfill food that is the next producer of CO2 gases.
It's staggering, isn't it, just to think that. And actually, if we made as much as we need, that's kind of hard to do, I guess. There's always going to be some maybe left over because trying to predict demand is difficult. But actually, projects like this help kind of mop up, I suppose, some of that otherwise would go to landfill.
Yeah, we're producing enough to feed everybody in the world. The tragedy is that the greedy countries are taking more than they need and wasting it. When the Prime Minister turns around and said we've got to increase food production, I nearly swore at her. Because we don't need to increase food production, we need to spread it out. But we've got greedy. We expect every type of food on every supermarket shelf whenever we go into it. Whether it's 9 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night when they're closing, we expect a full shelf. And that is causing waste. And well, although we slag off the supermarkets for food waste, the biggest wasters are households. They waste more than the supermarkets. Everybody denies it. Oh, I don't waste food.
I know, absolutely. You can find out more about this at the Second Helpings stand, which is just on the Bath Row side of the field. And George Hetherington, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Rob. Good to see you again.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Will Price.
I'm Mark Daniels.
And how many open water swims have you done so far?
We've been here most Sundays, haven't we? Yeah. But this is our longest ever swim today. We did the 4K right across Rutland Water where was it, about a month ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was our longest up till today. So yeah.
Is it quite intimidating when literally you can't see any land around you?
I prefer it. I like it when you're out in the open and there's nothing around you, because when you go to the pool, there's always, a bit of a plaster on the floor and stuff like that, and people splashing around you. So when you're out there and there's nothing around you,
You're raising money for charity as well today.
Yeah, really appreciate everyone that's donated to our Just Giving page. It was a lot more than we expected. We only signed up a couple of weeks ago, so we set a low target of 150. I think we're up to about 430, last time I looked. So
Who's that going to?
That's going to Marie Curie and Cancer Research. Yeah. So
thank you very much.
The two charities, aren't they, for this time?
Yeah. First time I've done a fundraising, and I just really everyone's been appreciated. Like everyone, the amounts people donate as well, like your friends. You think that's really like generous of them.
Yeah, they believe in what you're doing and believe in you as well.
Yeah, they do.
And
it motivates you, because we actually had a barbecue party at Mark's house last night.
Yeah.
Not a late one though.
It was a late one.
Okay, fair enough.
And we were not prepared for this. So
I
yeah.
know it consisted of beer and meat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, beer and meat is
But it
good
worked.
preparation.
That's the secret,
Well done. Thanks for joining us here on Rutland Radio today.
Thank you very much.
Rutland Radio.
My name's Lasma and this is Callie and she's a Samoyed.
And you've won Best in Show out of all the dogs here at Stamford this year. What a beautiful dog. She's so smiley, isn't she? She's such an expressive dog.
Yes, they are known as smiling dogs, so the smiling Sammies.
Do you show her generally?
Yeah, I take her to championship shows. She's been to like Crufts before, but just use these fun shows just to practice before the main ones, really.
Do you think it takes a certain type of dog to actually succeed in this? In terms of they've got to be calm, doing things over and over again. They've got to be quite fine with that and not get too bored with it.
Yes, you don't want them to be too calm, so you don't want them to be too sluggish, so you've got to make it fun for them as well. Then you get the best expression out of their faces or the movement, etc.
And beautiful actually just to see her coat in the wind, so I guess you must brush her daily at least.
Sometimes maybe once a week, so not as much as you would think I would.
Well done for winning Best in Show today here in Stamford. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Highlights from the past 7 days. The Rutland Radio Podcast.
Lieutenant Colonel David Young, Chairman, ABF The Soldiers Charity, for Leicestershire and Rutland.
So the Beating the Retreat, the annual ceremony, is back at Oakham Marketplace this week. It should be more standing, the retreat, though, you say?
Yes, that's correct. This year we're very honoured to have the Brigade of Gurkhas band, and in fact they don't have any drums, so they have to use their bugles. And I don't know if anybody's seen the Brigade of Gurkhas march, but they march incredibly fast and incredibly efficiently. So although the whole ceremony will last around about 25 minutes, you'll think that they're moving at a rate of knots, because they move at something like 140 paces a minute.
That is fast. I mean, from what I know of marching, that seems about double the speed of most other marching bands.
Normally it's 120.
Right, okay. So, it's always on that Wednesday in September, always in Oakham, and has been for some years. Do you know how many years actually the Beating the Retreat has been here?
It's been going here for 18 years, and each year we try and get a different band up. This year, as I said, we've got the Brigade of Gurkhas, who are coming all the way from Shorncliffe, which is near Folkestone in Kent. The salute will be taken by the Lord Lieutenant Dr. Sarah Furness.
And the whole event is also to raise money for ABF, the Soldiers Charity. Tell us about the charity.
Well, ABF, the Soldiers Charity, is the Army's national charity, and it was actually formed by King George VI in 1947. And the idea was to make sure that every soldier, whether he's serving or whether he's a veteran or their direct family, can benefit from the charity and don't have the indignity of suffering deprivation or ill health without help.
And the event this Wednesday is free, and they'll be collecting buckets around and hoping, obviously, to make some good money from that.
Yes, one side of the square by the Whipper Inn, you'll see a certain amount of chairs there. The actual march-off is at 6:30, so I suggest you get there at 6:15 if you want to try and grab a seat. The other side, actually, is a lot of very generous supporters who have actually bought tickets. Everybody can go along for free. We have a database of supporters who we always let know about this, and we actually charge them for watching the event, but then afterwards they go to a reception in the castle.
And with the Gurkhas, I suppose that they're more at the forefront of people's thoughts than they used to be, thanks to, well, a lot of various campaigns from things like Joan Lumley's done, to also the Gurkha Trust being the nominated charity at Burley this year. So people are thinking more about the Gurkhas than they have for a long time, maybe.
And very right too. The Gurkhas, I think, have partially had a bad deal from us. They've been with us since the East India Company as part of the British Army. But I don't know if anybody knows the story of it, but we tried to annex Nepal to the British, and it didn't succeed. And we were so impressed by the standard of the troops and the tenacity of the soldiers that we decided to set up our own army using their troops. And they now recruit all their people from Nepal. The main recruiting office is near Kathmandu. And as soon as they join for life. So when it comes to what happens afterwards, it was pretty unfair that we were just sending them back to Nepal without giving them any residency here. There are very few of them. I mean, we've got 3,000 Gurkhas. So when they retire, I mean, really, quite frankly, we should give them a home here, as they're very, very good workers.
So it's beating the retreat when the Gurkhas will be sounding their bugles. That's tomorrow night from 6:30. But as David said, do get there early if you'd like a seat, but please do support it. And if you can donate to ABF, the Soldiers' Charity, we'd be really grateful.
Just to finish off, do come along. You won't have difficulty in finding somebody to give money to. They'll be walking. You'll get soldiers walking around with buckets. So please give as generously as you can. Thank you very much.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Patrick Candler and I'm chairman of the Clipsham Yew Tree Avenue Trust.
Now, people would know this landmark here on the Rutland border for years. It's been here for 150 years. We see the Forestry Commission signs. Why does it need anyone else actually to intervene, and how did that all come about?
Well, it came about because in 2010 the Forestry Commission said that they could no longer afford to maintain the yew trees. They never had to do it. They did it on a voluntary basis, and they did a fantastic job because in its prime it was just a wonderful site. But at the time there was pressures on the Forestry Commission, financial and otherwise, and they just had to kind of withdraw from some of the projects. There was a local concern, and I know the Rutland MP, Sir Alan Duncan, was very much involved. But the FC were unable to change their mind. And about 3 years ago, colleagues in local people contacted me and said, look, Patrick, you've done some great work at the Spinney. How about doing it at Yew Tree Avenue? I said, well, I used to live in Clipsham. I love Yew Tree Avenue, and why shouldn't I? So in 2015, the Yew Tree Avenue Trust was kind of started, and we spent about 3 years negotiating with the Forestry Commission. And in July this year, we've signed a 20-year management agreement, which is really, really wonderful because it gives us the confidence to do the work, because it's a long-term project here, to go to funders to say, look, we've got a real piece of the action here and we want your support.
Now, that is the next question, really, isn't it? Who is actually going to be able to fund the maintenance? I mean, just looking at it at the moment, you've cut the grass fairly recently.
Yeah.
The yew trees themselves kind of just look like they just need a haircut. They're not massively overgrown, but they just probably need sort of trimming back into shape a bit.
I would think some do, but some are looking a little bit unkempt and straggly, and in comparison to what they can be, we need to do some work on it. I mean, some of the topiaries on the top of the trees, you can easily restore those. It's the ones on the side that I think were the uniqueness of this site, because they were really idiosyncratic, like the man on the moon in July the 20th, 1969, the celebration of Rutland's independence in 2000, Sir David Davenport Hanley, obviously because he used to own the site. So you had all these little quirky ones, and we want to bring them back, and that will take 3 or 4 years to do, because of the way we're going to redo it. You asked about funding. We've already had some grants from local trusts, and we're really grateful for that. We've had some good press in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and arising from that, money has been coming in from individual donations, which is great. We are looking to put some big funding applications in, because it is going to require serious money to get this site into shape. But once it's done, because people want to be associated with it, it will be really good. And of course it's up to the trust to do it. We are now a registered charity, so we've got all our credentials in place, And we think that people who've known Yew Tree Avenue in the past and want it restored, they will support us. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a sweat, but actually it's one of those projects you can see the difference you make.
And you can hear the wildlife here as well. I mean, I know obviously, the topiary is going to be trimmed artistically, and we've actually seen the nibbling that the muntjac deer have done to produce a bit of a step in there, which has almost pulled the first part of it back into line. But what an amazing place we've got here.
Oh, it is. And I was talking to the Forestry Commissioner's wildlife ranger, and he says it's just wonderful. The range of the biodiversity of the site, not only the grasses, I mean, it's cut now, but when it grows again, you'll be able to get the different species. They've done a butterfly survey in this area, and they found the purple emperor, which is the first time in years. It is a wonderful site, and it's great for people to come and walk. It's about 600 yards long, so by the time you've gone from one end to the other, you've done almost 1.5 kilometres with or without a dog, and that's a good physical exercise. And at some point, we want to be doing events here. People have said to us, well, if you did a Christmas market and you lit up all the trees, wow, what a fantastic achievement that would be. Or, I've always wanted to do a music festival on here. Oh, got to get permission and everything, but you could do it because it would just be a wonderful setting.
And you want to keep this free for people to access every single day of the year.
Yes, I use the word unique, and I'm very careful how I use it, but in terms of the size, in terms of the number of trees, the age of the trees, I mean they're 200 years old, and in terms of the topiary designs, you won't find anywhere in the UK, possibly in Europe, dare I say the world, that is like Yew Tree Avenue. And we do have international visitors. We know that because they go to the olive branch to eat, and they've been here in the past and they've come and said, oh, it's not like it used to be. Well, it will be. We'll get it all back.
What an amazing project to be involved with.
Oh, it is, and we're very appreciative of the support that Rutland Radio can bring, because you can broadcast our message to people. We do want visitors to come here. We want them to enjoy it. We want them to help and just be part of the restoration of what is Rutland's cultural heritage.
How can people find you, and if they have got pots of money?
I like the idea of pots of money. Well, they can always make a check out to the Clipsham Yew Tree Avenue Trust, but we do have our little leaflets, and you can go on the website yewtreeavenue.co.uk, or you can email us at info@yewtreeavenue.co.uk. Many in the immediate vicinity of the Yew Tree Avenue know about it because we've been talking to them, but we know there's a much wider audience, and please do come along. Over the next kind of 6 months or so, assuming we get our funding in, we're going to be restoring the car park to get that all nicely laid out. We're going to be doing some of the nature work. We're trimming the trees, mulching where we need to make sure they've got appropriate water. We're going to be appropriate surveys. We're going to do new signage interpretation, because actually we want to get the schools involved. I mean, that would be wonderful for schools to come and have a trip here, and they could spend a whole day and just drawing the trees, learning about nature, linking in with things like the forest schools. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunities.
And you mentioned people walking their dogs, and you want people to continue doing that, but you don't want them to leave anything behind.
No, but that's true of parks everywhere. You can't blame the dogs. We just want responsible dog ownership. You bring a plastic bag, you pick up the droppings and take it away with you. And that means it's good for everybody. It doesn't pollute the grass rides we have here.
Yew Tree Avenue, the future. We're here at the start of it.
We are. We've got a long way to go, but we've made a very positive start. We've got a lot of support from all walks of life, and we really welcome that. And I think this just is a wonderful project to be involved in.
Patrick Handler, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio.
Thank you, Rob. Much obliged.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani, talking again about the Evergreen Care Trust. And today we have the founder of the Evergreen Care Trust, Louise Marsh, with us. Thanks very much for joining us, and lovely to see you in the studio.
Good morning, Rob. Lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
We're talking today about Florence Care. Now, this is something you've been doing for a short while compared to your other services, but tell us what it is.
Yeah, we've been planning it for a great many number of years, really, doing careful research. But actually, we launch on the 17th of this month. So this time next week, we hope to be live. And it's a very exciting time for Evergreen. And it's important to us because it's just meant that we've been able to respond to some of the higher needs of our existing member group.
What will Florence Care give you that people can't get already?
Florence Care within Evergreen is our full personal care service. We began 13 years ago with a wide range of free services. They continue. And then we also introduced home support, which was a paid-for service providing domestic laundry, shopping, and more recently pop-in visits, just making sure people are all right. And then in 2017 we launched our wellbeing service, wellbeing warden service, which was again looking after our existing members who had higher needs. So people who needed more than just the support with their home. They perhaps needed help with their meals, with fluid intake, with their medications, and actually just connecting with our team and being supported with some of their wellbeing needs, which has been really lovely. It's been a lovely journey. And now Florence Care is just taking it that step further. So people who may need a little bit of support with their personal care, washing, dressing, toileting, perhaps medications again and meals, all those sorts of things. So it just means that we're able to now provide support with those higher level needs.
So it's quite a step forward, I suppose, in the sort of vision that you had when you started, really.
Yes, it was. I think my background is nursing, and a full, good quality personal care service has always been part of the vision, but it's not been the right time, and we've focused on developing our free services, from advocacy, befriending, hospital to home support, hand and nail care, a whole range of things, which just enable people to have confidence, to feel safe at home, to feel happy at home. There's little interventions that keep people independent. And then, of course, with our home support service, that enabled people to stay in their homes with clean nets at the windows and, the floor vacuumed and, some of the more challenging jobs support with that. And so it's really lovely to be able to move into personal care, which, as I say, has always been part of the original vision. So it's taking us 13 years, but we think the time is right now.
And as you say, people remaining in their home, that is... it's almost as important as the medical care they receive in a lot of cases, because people have familiar surroundings, and if they're able to stay there and have their own independence, then that means a lot to their future.
Oh, it's a huge issue, Rob. It certainly is. And over many years I've listened to what is important to people when for whatever reasons they find themselves a little bit vulnerable and need that little bit of support in their home. So it's important to know what sort of care they want or are happy to have coming in their home. Who are they happy to have coming into their home? It's a huge issue to suddenly open your doors and have sometimes strangers coming into your home doing, goodness knows what. And particularly in very personal areas of care and support. So we've really focused on making sure that we recruit the right people, that we give them the right training, that we support them, that we equip them well, and that they'd be someone that I'd be happy to have come in my home. So really important.
So we're here helping to celebrate the launch of it. Are you looking for people to help you do that, and are you actually looking for those who may well need that service as well?
Yes, certainly. We focused on already our existing members and wanting to respond to their needs, but we're also very, very aware that there are a lot of people in our community who need this level of support. But you're right, Rob. We are looking to recruit men and women who share our values, who have a caring heart and have a high regard for the older adult, and who want to be a part of something that really does make a difference positively in people's lives, something that they can be proud of. And I think this is an area in frontline care services that needs to really be addressed. There are wonderful, wonderful people out there who are incredibly caring, want to be a part of changing what happens in care for the older person or the vulnerable adult, and not necessarily getting the training or the support or feel valued. And so we've really endeavoured to address that with our rates of pay, with our work-life balance for our staff, our career and professional development. So we're really excited about what we're offering, and we feel it is somewhat groundbreaking. It's taken us a long time, but we think it's been worth doing the groundwork first. So yeah, definitely looking to recruit another team. We're looking to recruit Team 2 and Team 3. All of our Florence carers will work in small teams, and yes, of course, we would like people to know that we're endeavouring to be out there and to provide a hopefully a good, appropriate, quality service.
And this all came about from the days when the councils decided that they weren't able to offer that kind of service anymore, and you started something which has grown into a charity, into a trust, and still is able to function that way.
Yes, I think in the very beginning, my work with social services, I became aware of lots of areas of need that weren't being addressed by health or by adult social care, that they simply couldn't. And so we've been able to develop, as I say, a wide range of free services that help support local authority and local national health with things that they're not able to get on board with. So together, which I think is really, really exciting, the statutory agencies and the third sector are working together much more closely now, which is very, very exciting. And we're starting to together make a big difference. And more recently, I think with some of the cuts that local authorities have had to have to deal with, and what that has then meant for ongoing services has also meant that it's created new challenges. And again, together with statutory colleagues, we're looking to find solutions so that it's not all doom and gloom. There is a really positive intention, I believe, with health, social care and the third sector to, it's dark and challenging times, but you know what we can do together can really make a difference, and we can be bearers of hope and light in what is otherwise quite a dark and challenging period for a lot of very vulnerable people.
So I guess anyone who thinks maybe they'd like to help you do that, or indeed would like your help, then either pick up the phone or visit your website.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from them. Thank you, Rob.
That's the Evergreen Care Trust. They're on Stamford 765 900 and Louise Marsh. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. You know Lindisfarne from Run to Home to Meet Me on the Corner and all those great hits. Well, you'll be able to hear them live with Rod Clements, original vocalist, at Stamford Corn Exchange this Saturday. Rod, thanks very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Rob.
1969 it all started.
It actually goes back a little bit further than that, because some of us were together in a blues band called the Downtown Faction in the 60s, and then we changed into a more sort of folk blues roots band called Brethren, and actually turned into Lindisfarne in 1970.
And how do you keep your voice young?
Oh, it's a mixture of various forms of self-medication and plenty of practice.
Really lovely to hear it. Well, have a great gig on Saturday. So out of everything that you've recorded, what do you think is the one that people go, you hear that sound, don't you, when you start it, when you hear that first couple of notes?
I think it's got to be Meet Me on the Corner.
We'll give it a spin. Thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. And just before you go, actually, just tell us who is in the band now.
Well, apart from myself on mandolin, guitars and fiddle, we've got Dave Hull-Denham, who's Alan Hull's son-in-law, on guitars, and he shares the lead vocals with me. He's been in the band since the mid-90s. We've got Ian Thompson on bass, who's been in the band also since the mid-90s. On keyboards, guitars, we've got Steve Daggett, who produced an album for us in the 80s and has been an on and off touring member of the band. And our latest recruit is Paul Thompson on drums, who people may know from Roxy Music.
Fabulous stuff. Thanks very much for coming on Rutland Radio and telling us a little. I guess the only way really to find out, though, is to come and see you on Saturday. I'm guessing, although he doesn't live all that far away now, that Paul Gascoigne probably won't be joining you on stage.
He hasn't mentioned it.
No. But thank you very much for being on Rutland Radio today. Really nice to chat to you.
It's a pleasure, Rob. Thanks a lot.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
I am so looking forward to it, and I do hope that youngsters, students aged 10 to 16 will come. Everybody's welcome, because actually what people get out of being a cadet is incredible. It sets them up for life. They gain marketable skills, they have great fun, they have adventure, they bond and do lots of teamwork. But what's most important is that they are happy. It's a great stress buster. It's a wonderful thing to do, and I I really can't sing its praises highly enough, and I don't think enough young people know about it. So I'm really hopeful that evening at Catmus at 6:30 we will have youngsters coming along and just finding out. There's no obligation to join, but there will be regular soldiers there. There will be lots of information about the cadet force. There'll also be information about the military bursaries that you can get. You can enter the military either at 16 or with A-levels, and whilst most students leave university with £30,000 worth of debt, isn't that incredible and awful? Actually, if you go the military route, you can often leave without any debt at all, and the military will provide you with support all through university and will provide all sorts of travel and all sorts of opportunities as well. So that's something else that's worth finding out about. It doesn't matter whether you do it or not, but it's a good thing to find out about.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Linda Upson.
I'm Catherine Gardiner.
And the Stamford Flower Club is doing this big display this weekend, past and present. How did the whole thing come about?
We wanted to showcase the talents of the club and show the town what people in the Stamford Flower Club do, really. And as a sideline, really, we also then raise money for charity, because the entrance fees will all go towards the Evergreen Care Trust and Churches Conservation Trust.
The title is called Stamford Past and Present, so each group of flower arrangers are given a theme. So we've got Fair, we've got the Georgian Stamford, which is based on the slate. We've got Stamford Life, so we've got Burley, we've got the Stamford Endower School, we've got the Eleanor Cross, we've got the Wool Trade, Stamford in Film, so anything to do with Stamford, and also the Shakespeare Company. We've got a scene from A Midsummer Night's Dream, and also of course the Stamford Mercury as well.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you've done anything on this kind of scale?
No, we did one about 5 years ago, so this is our second one, really, but probably learnt from the first one as well. So and got a lot of people working on it, so it's really had a lot of the people in the club involved, which is really good.
So I mean, we've got about 100 members, and we think about 40 people will be involved in it, so it's a good number of the club. Yeah.
So it's basically donation. You just they come in.
Well,
£3.
It's £3. Yeah. £3 to come in. Yes. So have a look and admire. And we've got a few flower arranging tips and people ask people questions, and we'd be happy to share our advice and perhaps encourage them to come along to join the club, or even just come along to a meeting, because you don't have to be a member to come along.
And how would you say, if you were going to give one tip to people, what would you say? Because I'm the classic kind of trim it all off at the same kind of length, stick it in the vase.
I think
that's really bad, isn't it?
It really is. Just if you want to have a go, have a go. Don't feel that don't be intimidated by coming here and seeing how good people can be. They all had to start somewhere, and I think that's what we're trying to say, is don't think you've got to come in and be an expert. Everyone has had to start at the bottom with their jam jar.
And everybody has different tastes, so one person might enjoy style, one person might do, somebody else might do something slightly different. So have a go, and you can always, there's no great disaster, you can always take it out and put it back in again, a different way.
And the nice thing about the meetings is that every month we have a different demonstrator, so they come along with different ideas and make demonstrations, so you learn from that as well. You get tips and from each other, so it's good.
Rutland Radio's Best Bits on the podcast.
My name's Neri, and I am assisting Jonathan Sisme with directing the Roger Sisme tribute show Life on Stage.
Tell us about the show on Sunday, and I suppose obviously it's a celebration of all the work that he's done to do with the Corn Exchange.
It's actually a celebration of his life on stage. So Jonathan and people in the Corn Exchange, people from Sam's, Panto, they all wanted to do something for him to just pay tribute to his life on stage, starting from the early 80s onwards. And so there's a mixture of narration, there's a mixture of singing, dancing, there's actual video footage as well. We have a bit of comedy. It's all been put together. Some of the songs he's actually done, some of the in the past, some are inspired by him. It's just trying to bring the community together again, just to say this one's for you, Roger, just because he deserved it, and he deserved to be acknowledged for everything he'd done, including rebuilding the Corn Exchange. So everything that we're putting together, all the money that's raised, is actually going into the theatre charity, and it's to help to rebuild the toilets downstairs, which are much needed renovation. And
a lot of people actually did know Roger, and over the years, it might have been from his New Age days, it could have been from him on stage.
Yeah.
Just one of those names, I guess.
I think he's just been around for so long, and obviously his family is so well known as well. I mean, you know, you've got Alex and the kids and everything. Everyone around here pretty much knows them, and it's just such a powerful thing. I think it's been very emotional going through this for everybody involved. But it is, you know, anyone who knew him is absolutely welcome, and it's not even a ticket base as such, it's donation on the door. So you can come in at any time. It's an early show, it's at 5:00 this Sunday, and it's about an hour and a half long. But yeah, we've got Aidan McGarry as well doing the house band, and we've got backing tracks, and so it is an absolute mixture of things. We've all just sort of come together, and we've only had 4 weeks to do it. Some even less than that. But we're just crossing fingers that people, just trying to get it out there for people, because I think he deserved that. He deserved to have that final stage goodbye as such, and then into his new generation who are carrying on, of course, and carrying on his legacy. So
Rutland Radio.
With John Little, let me get this right, John, you're the head coach, because I asked for the boss. They gave me you.
Yeah, that's their first mistake, but there we are.
So today is the open day. You've done it before. If I come down, what can I expect?
Open days are just for people to come and have a look at what we've got, the facilities. We've got plenty of equipment here which belongs to the club, so they can get their own set of bowls to make a start. We've got qualified coaches available, and we'll just give them a go. It's not coaching as such, but we'll give them a start, and then they can make up their mind today or next Saturday. We've got another one. They can make up their minds if this game might be of interest, and then we start coaching properly the week after that.
And how much coaching do you need? Do you do it once a week, or how long?
We do it once a week, every Saturday morning. We like to start quite punctual at 10 o'clock, and it goes through till 12. We have two big sessions. We have one starting now and one starting after the new year. We have you on coaching right the way through to Christmas. But the last perhaps 6 weeks or so, we have you playing in a team situation, in a small league situation. So when we finish with you, you've got a good idea of what everything's about.
And you've got youngsters down here today.
Oh, yes. We start people at about 7. We have a young lad here who is Owen Aspinall. I think he's 9 now. He started it about 3 years ago. He has played in the England under-18 trial. He's played in a number of top competitions. 2 years ago, he played against the world #1 bowler in a competition here. So absolutely immaculate. What a star lad he is.
What time does it go on until today?
We shall be finishing here about midday. If we've got people that have just come in and want to hang on for another quarter of an hour, that's fine. We can accommodate that. But normally it will finish about 12.
OK, well, listen, have a great day today, and have a good one next week.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for coming.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Sue Bamber, and I'm the Alpha Coordinator at Oakham Baptist Church, but it is part of a Churches Together initiative.
So it's all the churches in Oakham coming together to actually offer this course?
It is, which is really exciting, actually, because sometimes we don't work together because people are busy. And, you know, life gets quite hectic to get us all together, but you know, we've managed to pull this together this time, which is really good news.
Now, the Alpha courses is something that is offered virtually worldwide now, isn't it? But particularly in the UK.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to date, it's actually been done by over 24 million people worldwide. I mean, it's evolved over time because it's been running for several years. Society's changed, the presentation has changed, but it still reaches out globally, which is amazing, really.
And Monday night, the 24th of September, is a chance for people to come along and ask questions about the course, really.
Yeah, well, Monday night is a come and see intro evening to Alpha. It's not signing up for the whole course at that stage because the whole course is 11 weeks. So it's come along, come and see, it's be very relaxed. Alpha always starts with a meal, which is the fun part, is the good part. There's a short talk, but on the 24th we've actually got a guest speaker coming along, who is a chap that was a bouncer in some really rough and tough nightclubs in Leicester and Peterborough. And if you looked at him, you would see that he definitely was a bouncer. But as a result of doing an Alpha course and other things that happened in his life, he's actually now become a Baptist minister in Leicester. So his story is quite amazing, really. And, people will get a chance to hear what Craig has to say and how Alpha changed his life, really.
And people, as you say, can come along at no obligation at this time, no needing to necessarily do the course, but can find out more about how it works. Now, it's a free course, isn't it?
It is, yeah. There's no charge to the course at all. And I would like to iterate, there is no pressure on anyone, and there is certainly no follow-up if people decide, it's not for them. I mean, I think it's important to say that Alpha doesn't attempt to convert people to Christianity. All it does really is present the basic facts about the Christian faith, and then allows people to make up their own minds. It's a great opportunity for people to ask the questions that are maybe on their minds. Why am I here? Is there more to life? What's it all about? And be quite frank, the discussions around the table in small groups, every question is valid. Everybody's opinion matters. There's no criticism or judgment. And it's a great opportunity for people to say what they think and for others to chip in with their thoughts as well.
So the launch week on Monday, the 24th, is that actually happening at the Baptist Church itself?
Yeah, the whole course is going to be held in the Baptist Church for simplicity, and then people know where it is each week. It runs from 7:15 to 9:15 in an evening, and it won't be any later than that. We're very careful that it doesn't run late, because we appreciate people have got work and busy lives, etc. And people can sign up by going on the Oakham Baptist Church website or by emailing myself as well.
And what's the best email address for you?
The best email is alpha@oakambaptist.org.uk.
And do you have a kind of upper limit as to how many people this can take?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, we will try and accommodate as many people as possible. We're kind of saying no upper limit at the minute. No, not really.
But obviously you'd like to know, particularly for
But
food and stuff.
Yeah, we need to know if you're coming on the 24th just for the catering purposes. It'd be quite difficult if suddenly we had 20 people turn up that we hadn't catered for. So if people could get in touch with us beforehand and just to know if they were coming on that evening, that would be fantastic.
So this is open, presumably, to people who've thought maybe it might be nice to find out more about going to church, about Christianity generally.
Yeah, I mean, the Alpha course is for anyone at all. It's for people of no faith, people of a little faith, people who have been attending church for many years, people searching for answers to some of life's challenging questions. I think it's probably true to say people come on the Alpha course for many different reasons, and that's okay. That's really good.
Thank you very much, Sue Bamber, for joining us here on Rutland Radio. That's Oakham Baptist Church on Monday, the 24th of September from 7:15, and oakambaptist.org.uk if you want to find out more.
That's, alpha at oakambaptist.org.uk, that's correct, yeah.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Yeah, my name's Tom Marshall.
And tell us about the appeal. I mean, obviously, all this damage happened to the church last weekend, and I guess that damage must run into thousands.
Yeah, well, I don't know the full cost of it, but I do know that we've not been able to afford a permanent roof to be replaced on the church because due to lead thefts over the past few years. Basically, the Church's Conservation Trust, who look after the building, they've said that it's not something they can afford to replace because all the church is under their repair, under their care. There's about £2 million worth of repairs needed across all their buildings, so it's just something that they can't do a full repair on, unfortunately.
So it's the sort of temporary repair from the lead theft that's actually blown off, and it's in the main body of the church by the looks of it.
It's down one end, but it's over the organ, which left the organ exposed, and all the woodwork down one end of the church was obviously exposed to the elements. So as soon as it happened, It was just before the snow came after the storm, so it was pretty bad timing for it.
And your family have launched this fundraising appeal, despite the fact that you don't live in the village, but you've family connections to the church, which is quite a spectacular church, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, it's a beautiful building. I mean, it's part of the tower dates back to the 13th century, so it's an impressive building in its own right, but it's not actually a working church anymore. That's why the Church's Conservation Trust are looking after it. It also means that the Church of England don't have any money to give towards repairs, that sort of thing. It all has to be a charity appeal. But it means a lot to my family. My gran, Ruth Wallhead, she lived in the village since the 1960s. She died last year. She actually died, her funeral was at the church in November. So it does mean a lot to us. And I'm actually getting married there next year as well. So it's a special building to us. And
you're hoping to raise £1,000?
£2,000 is what we put on the appeal. Mm-hmm. I haven't checked. Last time I checked, I think we're about £250 on the appeal. So we're hoping to get to 2,000. It will cost a lot more to do a permanent repair. So anything above that, obviously, it'll all go towards the Church's Conservation Trust. But it just feels like we're able to do something, for the village and for the church and get it all sorted. At least if it's a temporary repair, then the things inside are going to be protected from the rain until there can be a permanent solution when the money's there.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
My name is Tom Case, I live in Hambleton.
And you achieved the most churches and also a huge amount of money for the Ride and Stride. Tell us where you started and where you ended up.
So I started Hambleton Church, which was quite a nice one because it was right in the middle. And then I basically just did a loop and went out north and then sort of went clockwise around Rutland. My last one was Braunston, and that was about 2 minutes to 6 that I got to there, and that was a shut-off time.
Wow, yes, exactly. You've only got 10 till 6 to actually...
Exactly, yeah. It's not a lot of time to sort of call into a lot of churches and have a chat. To be honest, I spent a bit too long in the first sort of 20, and then I had to really go for it for the last 30 or so.
And it was a beautiful day, wasn't it? I remember it so well. It was just the sunshine, just a light breeze. Couldn't have been better, really, weather-wise for it.
Oh, it was just a perfect day. It was a really wonderful day. Not too windy, like you said, and a bit of sunshine, so it was a wonderful day for it.
And having the cup in your family, that's a first, but something that I believe your father's nearly achieved a few times,
yes.
But actually with more churches.
Yes, unfortunately, I think he got 56, I think quite a few years ago, but I think that was the year when 3 blokes managed to do about 60, so he was a bit devastated about that one, and of course I've got it now with less, so I've got the bragging rights there, so that'll go down well.
And in terms of people getting involved with this, it's a wonderful thing, isn't it, to see part of our county that you wouldn't normally see?
Oh, exactly. There's some great churches around Rutland, so if you can just take the opportunity to get out and go and see them and just have a nice day out, you don't have to do 52, you can go and do 20 or something like that, and it's still just a wonderful day. So a year and a half from now, I'd really recommend anyone to go out and do it.
Rutland Radio.
Hello, it's Jo Dobbs and I'm Arts Projects Officer for Invest SK, working with Stamford Arts Centre.
And Arts Around Town includes the Arts Centre this Friday and obviously other venues, hence the name, and it's a circus skills theme this time.
It is. We thought we'd go with a circus theme. It should be fun. It'll brighten our Friday for half term, and there'll be lots going on. You can have a go at circus skills, painting with Karen Neal, there's music, there's walks, there's circus shows, and there's even a show called Science of Circus.
And it's a mixture of things you can just turn up at or things you can book, and the tickets theme for the bookable thing isn't all that much either.
No, there's a couple of things that you need to pay £1 for, and that includes Wildcats Theatre School's taster sessions, and they're on Friday morning, a couple of sessions that you'll need to book for, and also for the Science of Circus show. There's 2 shows in the theatre, but they are selling already, so it would be a good idea to pre-book for those.
And on a Saturday morning there's been lots of rehearsals for your flash mob that's happening at some point on Friday at a particular location in town.
Yes, so that's a group that Sarah Hughes from Lincolnshire One Venues Connecting Communities project's been working with, families in Stamford, and there'll be a flash mob on the High Street at some point during the Friday, and we think it's probably going to be in the 2:30 sort of time, so yes, have a look out for that.
And the venues stretch from Barn Hill this year to St George's Churches as well as the Arts Centre.
That's it. We are very lucky this time to be using St George's rooms on Cheney Lane in Stamford. It's not the church, it's where Mr Pangs used to be, and they're very kindly letting us use that. And it's going to be drop-in circus skills workshops there, so you can have a go at all sorts of Diablo and those sort of things, juggling and that kind of thing.
And Barn Hill as well?
So Barn Hill's got a show. It's by Gossamer Thread Circus Company, and it's called Curious Cabaret. So I think it'll be really interesting. There'll be contortionists and performers and circus performers there, and it should be really fun for all the family.
And there are guided walks around town which have already sold out for one of their sessions.
Yes, so that's the 11 o'clock family walk with Ruth and Rachel from Stamford Sights and Secrets has already sold out. So I think they've been doing some good publicity. And the idea was that they would start from the Arts Centre and finish at the Methodist Church, so just in time for the Curious Cabaret show. And obviously that's proven very popular. But there's still going to be spaces left at the 2 o'clock, and they might do another one as well.
So people can pick up the leaflet from the Arts Centre, from various venues, I guess, around town as well?
Absolutely. At the library, there's leaflets and all around town. But yes, certainly there's lots in stock at the Arts Centre. So come in and have a look. And also online on our website, you can see all the details there.
And basically it's just 5 hours packed with circus-themed activities.
Absolutely. And during the day on Friday, Karen Neal, the local artist, Karen, will be creating a fantastic circus mural all over the wall of the gallery. And she did a similar thing last time. Obviously it's circus themed, and so there'll be balloons and all sorts of performers and animals and things, as well as clowns and all sorts of things. And you can get your face painted at the library. Lots of things that you can do.
And there are things literally for all ages, right the way from little tots all the way through.
Yes, tinies. We've got Dance and Movement with Beth. Who's actually coming for the first time to do a taster session at 11 o'clock till noon, and then another session at 1 till 2 in the Blue Room at the Arts Centre. And this is a taster session for under fives that want to have a regular group, and we're going to run a group from the 2nd of March onwards for under fives at the Arts Centre, and it's a brand new group, so come along and have a go.
So that's Arts Around Town Family Fun Day. It's Circus Guild this time. It's this Friday, 11 till 4, around Stamford. You can find details at Stamford Arts Centre, at the library, and other locations around town, and obviously a big banner outside the Arts Centre, which I've seen already.
We have, yes, we have. And they'll on the actual day, there'll be feather flags making sure that you know what venue is going to be taking part in the Arts Around Town. So they'll be on the High Street and, as I say, Cheney Lane and at Barn Hill too.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Bit of a shock because you had your husky voice on. Your sort of, the morning after the night before voice.
Well, funny you should say that.
Yeah. Indeed.
Have you had a Pippin yet?
Not for a while, although we're doing a lot of work with Hamilton Bakery now, where basically on a Wednesday, 12 o'clock, I stand somewhere in the area, get cold for an hour and hand out free cakes.
That sounds like a good job.
It's a great job.
You're only going to make friends doing that.
Yeah, so I'll be doing it tomorrow as well in Uppingham. Now, Rutland is changing.
No.
It is.
It can't do.
No, it is.
Are you getting a McDonald's or something?
You're spot on. Yes, we are.
Get out.
We are. By the end of the year, there'll be a McDonald's on the Oakham bypass.
Oh, on the bypass is fine, not in the middle of town, though.
Tell us about the show, then. It continues through this week at the NEC.
Yeah, it's on till Sunday, and you will be amazed at the variety and the choice. My wife always says, please don't buy anything until you phone me, because there's just so much temptation here. But I think what's really good about it is you have an idea of what you want. So you might want a 2-berth, 4-berth, a fixed bed, a rock and roll bed. But
rock and roll bed?
A rock and roll bed, yeah. Matt can talk about that. He's a bit rock and roll.
I'm very rock and roll. Yeah. So I think Keith Richards has got a rock and roll bed, actually. And it's basically a seat that turns into a bed and it rocks and rolls to get into that position. Yeah. But you can play whatever music you like when it's doing it. So it could easily be a country and western bed as well.
And you actually did the open mic night when you were in Oakham, Matt, of course, being very rock and roll.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was quite rock and roll. But then Oakham is very rock and roll. It's mad. The scenes I think is what they say these days. The scenes in Oakham are mad.
The scenes, yeah, absolutely. Well, good to talk to you both. Thank you so much for painting the picture. And Matt, you're just at the NEC today?
I'm just at the NEC today. I'll be on the club stand today, so come down and say hello. It's always lovely to see people, whether they're members or not, or just dipping their toe in. Just come and say hi, and you'll always find someone that'll have been somewhere interesting to talk to.
Matt Allwright and Harvey Alexander, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio today from the NEC.
Thank you. Cheers, Rob.
Rutland Radio.
Hello.
Hello, Debbie. It's Rob from Rutland Radio.
Hi.
I'd just like to talk to you about next Tuesday, if that's okay with you. Certain competition that you entered to go to the O2, yes. Overnight hotel for 2, train travel for 2.
God.
You are this year's Brit Awards winner with MasterCard and Rutland Radio.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sounds like you never thought you would actually win.
No, do you know, I entered it for my daughter. It's her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I entered it for my daughter to go. But I never thought I'd win.
Well, you have. So, first of all, I need to just check your daughter's age, because no one under 16 is able to get into the venue.
Yes, she's 32.
Okay, that's fine then. So you'd literally like to gift it to her, would you?
I would, yes.
Is she local to us?
Yeah, she lives in North Luffenham.
Wow, what's her name?
Victoria.
So I guess you've got to clear it with Victoria that she's free to go next Tuesday night now.
She's off work actually next week, because we're going to spend the week together.
Right. Well, there you go. That's one day taken care of, isn't it?
Oh, that's brilliant.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Hello.
Hello, Victoria. It's Rob from Rutland Radio. Are you down in the big smoke?
Yes, I am. Hi, Rob.
And how was it last night for you? How were the Brit Awards?
Oh, it was absolutely amazing. It was such an experience. All the acts were fantastic, and just where we were sat, it was just a brilliant view of everything. Yeah, a real fantastic experience. Just something I'll never forget. It was amazing.
And any standout performances? I mean, it was pretty diverse, wasn't it, from Stormzy to Rod Stewart?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Rod Stewart at the end was absolutely fantastic. Billie Eilish again was good. It was fantastic to hear her sing the Bond theme. Stormzy was good. Jack Whitehall, the presenter, was fantastic. They were all really amazing performances.
And what about your time down in London? You're going to do a little bit of London stuff before you head back to our fair county?
Yeah, we are. We're going to go and have a bit of a wander around. Where we're staying, the Premier Inn is right near Stratford International Station, so there's plenty to do. And there's a massive shopping centre next door, so I'm going to have to go and have a look around there.
Yeah, absolutely. Who did you take in the end?
I took Alex, my boyfriend.
Fabulous. Well, you two have a wonderful time, all thanks to MasterCard, the Brit Awards prize. Thanks for chatting to us this morning on Rutland Radio about it.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you very much. A big thank you to my mum, Debbie, for having my babies and obviously for winning for me.
Yeah, of course.
Rutland Radio.
So I'm just on Crown Walk. I'm with Chloe from Olive Tanning and Beauty. What is happening today? It's a bit exciting today, isn't it?
We finally have our relaunch party, so we've got bubbles and nibbles, lots of gift vouchers available, treatments to be had, treatments to be won, and the sunbeds are open for a little bit later too.
Wow. And why is it being relaunched?
We took over in September and we knew that we wanted to do a refurbishment and put our own style onto it, and that's what we have done, so we can't wait for everyone to come and have a look.
Well, it looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
So what sort of prizes are we talking about?
So we've got sunbed minutes to be won, we've got spray tans, we've got nails and waxing and facials, we've got everything up for grabs.
Wow, and how can we win them?
You'll have to turn up, have a nosy around, and then get involved from that point onwards. We can't give too much away.
Ooh.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
I'm Roger Dumford and I'm an on-call watch manager in charge of Uppingham Fire Station for Leicestershire Fire and Rescue Service.
And you've been doing this for over 30 years. You've been recognised very recently by the service.
Yeah, 30 years. Seemed a long while ago when I joined. But yeah, I've had 30 years of enjoyable activities within the station, seen a lot of changes, been out and attended lots of different types of incidents. But when I joined something I fancied doing as a different sort of skill. But I wanted to serve my community with support in the on-call section of the Leicestershire Fire Service.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, on-call? And 30 years ago, either you were the only person you knew with a mobile or you had a pager, I guess.
Yeah, I had a pager and we still have pagers to this day. We have to respond within the station from wherever we are, workplace or socialising within 4 minutes of an incident to turn out the fire engines.
Were you expecting this kind of attention? Because you've been plastered all over social media with Leicestershire Fire and Rescue.
No, I'm not a person that really bothers about a lot of attention. I'd normally shy away from it. It makes you think it is a big achievement. The Leicestershire Fire and Rescue officers came out on Monday and gave a presentation, and it was really appreciated. It does make you think that, you look back and think 30 years committed to this, because it is a big commitment, family life, social life, not being able to drink and whatever, but I wouldn't have changed it for the world.
And obviously, as an on-call firefighter, that means you have a full-time normal job as well.
Yeah, I work for Hanson Cement in Ketton on a shift basis, 2 days, 2 nights, 4 days off. I give 120 hours a week average over the year on call to Uppingham Fire Station.
Well, I know you've got your official certificate here, but we wanted to recognise you as well. So this is why I'm here today. So you are officially our hero of the week as well. So,
well, that's amazing. I wouldn't class myself as a hero for doing 30 years for something I love doing. Normally people get classed as heroes for doing some amazing life skill save, someone's life. But no, that's really appreciated. To be a hero for doing something you love for 30 years, I suppose. Yeah, I'll take it. That's great.
Well, we're delighted to give it to you, and well done for being our hero of the week, Roger Dunford.
Thank you very much. And if I could just say that, anybody that does want to, in the Uppingham area or Oakham area, serve the community in something like this or firefighting, just log on to Leicestershire Fire and Rescue Service recruitment site. There's a portal there. You can show interest and they'll get back to you. Or go to your local fire station, Oakham or Uppingham, between 18 and 30 hours and 20-30 hours on a Monday evening and speak to one of the officers or crew at that station.
And I know Stamford do a similar thing on a Tuesday night for people over that way. So
yes, Stamford. I used to be at Stamford. I did 7 years in Stamford when I worked in Stamford in an engineering company. I used to do that daytime. Until the company was folded up, redundancy, which then I continued here. So, they're always, on-call stations are always looking for new recruits.
Rutland Radio.
It was found up where the old prisoner of war camp is, up on Empington Road, where the Danish invaders. I believe there was some prefabricated houses left there after the prisoner of war camp, and they were sort of lived in until the mid-50s, early 60s sort of time. And then they were bulldozed. So, of course, we find quite a lot of stuff in the ground there when we're doing extensions and stuff. I'm a ground worker, so I dig in the ground quite a lot and find lots of different things.
So this wasn't a Pride of Stamford litter pickers find, it was literally your day job when you're doing building and digging the foundations and stuff?
Yeah, even during my day I'm finding litter. I have no escape from litter. When I'm on a digger digging a hole, I still find litter.
But finding something that old really makes you think, doesn't it? The fact that plastic is still as good as it ever was. It's not breaking down.
It's here forever. It's not degraded in any way. As I was out litter picking this morning, I found 17 different plastic bottles that have been discarded by whoever on the verges, on the paths. And then bottles are going to live there for, 100, 200 years? Nobody knows. As you're driving along in your car looking out your window this morning, you'll see plastic bottles lying everywhere, and they're going to live there for hundreds to 200 years. We really don't know what we've opened up with plastic. It's just sort of going to be there forever.
And do you think this is actually a piece of Stamford history? Because people talk a lot about Castleoids and all the plastic stuff that was made in Stamford, where Waitrose is now.
It could have been part of Stamford history. It could have been made in Stamford. It could have made no further than took home from work, washed the dishes, discarded, and there it is, found 50, 55 years later.
And you've had a lot of interest from this, from even the national press as well.
Yes, the national press and all. We're just trying to get the message across there about plastic. It is a bit of a novelty to find something 50, 60 years old, but the fact of it is this is a solid item. This is not degrading. You'll walk into your shop today, you'll buy your bottle of pop, you'll drink it, you'll throw it out. Your grandchildren are going to see that. Your grandchildren's grandchildren are going to see that. It's going to live there for hundreds of years. It is a bit of a novelty item, but it is also immensely bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for chatting to us on Rutland Radio this morning. Well done for all that you do and all the Pride of Stamford litter pickers, up so early, I know, and out so late and in such windy, rainy weather at the moment, actually making sure that all our streets are clean.
The litter won't pick itself. Somebody has to be doing it. The council do a great job and we help everywhere we can.
Brilliant, Neil. Thanks very much for that.
Thank you, Rob. Bye.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. We've been talking about it for weeks now. This is something you will not want to miss in the summer. 13th and 14th of June. It's Anglian Water's Music Festival, and it's a lot more than music, but some of the acts they've got. Fantastic stuff right at Rutland Water. The same place where you've probably seen live music there before, but this is entirely driven by the Rutland Water and Anglian Water team, and Regan Harris is with us this morning. Thanks very much for coming in and working with us on this, because this is incredible, isn't it?
It is. It's really, really exciting. So Anglian Water are putting on their very first kind of weekend music extravaganza music festival at Rutland this summer. We're really excited about it. So it's great to be working with Rutland Radio on getting the message out and getting people to buy tickets. So yeah, really exciting.
Scouting for Girls, the Saturday headliners, the Hoosiers, the Sunday headliners, local bands being added, and basically everything in between on the stages.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Scouting for Girls, Hoosiers, they're both signed up. We've also got Dean Richardson, who's the local Freddie Mercury tribute, Rats in the Kitchen, Little Chicks, and also our supporting acts. We've just signed up Jack Maynard and Matt Terry from X Factor fame as well. So they're all going to be joining us for the weekend, as well as loads of like fun family activities, water sports, stuff for kids, entertainment, and also really importantly, lots of local businesses getting involved too, bringing their wares to Rutland Water.
What time in the day does it start each day? Because the times are different on the Saturday and Sunday.
So broadly we're starting in the afternoon both days, but gates will be open before that, and then we're going on. Saturday finishes at 10 o'clock at night and Sunday at 8. So, you know, obviously mindful for the local community as well, because we don't want to be keeping them up all night, but we do want everybody to have a really good time. So yeah, really exciting. So we just really want people to come down and join us. Early bird tickets are on sale until the end of the month, so get in now if you're interested. Prices start at £15 for children over 4 and £25 for anybody over the age of, I think it's 12 or 14, but check on the website. So that offer's on until the end of the month, and then, you know, tickets will continue to be available right up until the event and on the door as well. So if people can't decide yet, they can come down, pay on the day. It includes parking, and then there is the optional extra for people who want to camp for the weekend as well. So lots of variety for lots of different people.
You're hoping very much this is the start of something that could become annual, that actually the other water parks that Anglian Water have. This is kind of like a trial to see what actually could happen in the future and the sort of things you could put on at Rutland Water.
Yeah, absolutely. So we really want this to become kind of a legacy for Rutland and Rutland Water. Obviously, we used to have things like Rock on the Meadows in Stamford, but there's been a little bit of a gap since then. So our parks are completely self-funded, our water parks. They've been really wanting to do a music festival for years, and they've kind of been saving up almost towards doing it, and this is going to be the first year that we're doing it, but we really want it to become a legacy and return year after year. So, you know, we really want people to have a good time, give us loads of feedback, and then hopefully we'll be back for many summers to come.
So it's the 13th and 14th of June, both days. It's at Sykes Lane at Empingham.
It is.
Literally the stage will be right next to the water.
Yep, and it'll be right next to the water, and we'll have lots of displays as well. So we've just signed up the local fire service, so Leicestershire Fire and Rescue. They're going to be coming and doing some displays on the water about reservoir safety. You know, there's going to be our mad science crew. Hopefully they're going to be down there doing entertainment. So there'll be all the Anglian Water messages about, you know, using water wisely, what not to flush down the loo, all of that good stuff, as well as loads of activities with local businesses and lots of stuff for people to get involved in.
Anglian Water Music Festival, 13th and 14th of June. Early bird tickets available till the 29th of February, and then prices will increase a bit. We will see you there on the day. We cannot wait. It does sound fabulous. It looks great.
It's going to be good value and fun for the whole family. So, yeah, really excited.
Regan Harris, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio this morning.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Tomorrow, you're doing the Stamford Striders Valentine's 30K, which was postponed as well. So it's all happening this weekend.
It is, yeah. Looking forward to it tomorrow, actually. I wouldn't have fancied it last Sunday in Storm Dennis. Tomorrow, it's still going to be windy, but thankfully not quite as windy as it would have been last week. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Speaking to the chair of Stamford Striders, actually, about all this, and any tips for first-time runners. Now, you've done it before, so I guess you can kind of see it, you know, from, you know, an established runner's point of view, but basically he said don't do the same pace the whole way round.
No, well, you can't, because you're sort of uphill and down dales for 3 hours or whatever it is. It's a tough run. I mean, a lot of people say it's actually tougher than marathons. I mean, it's what is it, almost 19 miles, 30k. So it's 7 miles short of a full marathon. But of course, it's very hilly. You don't get the support you might do necessarily, going around the London Marathon. And it's also in February, where it's generally quite cold and quite windy. So yeah, it's a tough old run. I don't know why we do it, to be honest, but lots of people are looking forward to it. Certainly judging by social media, lots of people love the 30k. But yeah, I'll see whether I love it probably about this time tomorrow.
And there's a lot of people who going from one running event to another that actually, because it's been postponed by a week, can't do it.
Yeah, there's I think some people have been saying on Facebook there's a snake run. I'm not sure where that is. It's only a 10k, and that's tomorrow as well. So some people who were already booked in for the snake run now can't do the 30k. And of course, other people have got plans as well. People have got things on at the weekend just generally. So I know there's a lot of people who've had to give up their race number. But the guys at Stamford Striders, Robin Ball and Mark Alderson, have been doing a sterling job, as far as I can tell, of transferring people who now can't run onto people who now can run. So I guess they're reselling some of those places. So yeah, well done to the organisers. There's been a lot of work over the last couple of weeks for them, I'm sure.
And such a headache, isn't it, when you kind of taking that decision with a few days to go, because you can't call it on the morning because people are travelling miles away to actually get to Stamford to do it.
Exactly. And I know if they wanted to postpone it to this week, which is what they've done, then they had to make that decision, I think, by Friday lunchtime, because of course you've got to stop people, or not have the road closures in place. You've got to stop people travelling, not just the runners, but of course all the logistical staff. There's certain sponsors as well who obviously they'd have to inform. So yeah, it was a big decision, but I think they made the right decision, because can you imagine last Sunday, if a big tree or a big branch fell on someone, or when they're running, then you'd never sort of forgive yourself, would you?
Might ever stage it again if that happens. So yes, health and safety, and for all the runners, and good luck to you, whatever position you come in, Dean, tomorrow. I don't know whether Aaron Scott's actually doing it tomorrow. I know that he was planning to last week, and he'd set the course record, but I don't know whether he is.
Well, I've not heard he isn't, so I hope he is. There's two really quick runners. Josh Lunn, I think, is the other guy. Both of them who run marathons for England. Hopefully they're running it. Not that I'm going to be troubled by.
You won't be third.
No, I won't be third. No, I'll be probably. There's 750 runners. If I come in the top 650, I'll be happy.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. It's Rutland Radio breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. I would say it's nearly that time again, but it isn't. But at the same time, isn't it good to get this date planned in? We're talking about the 2018 Stamford Santa Fun Run, and with me this morning from the Rotary Club of Stamford Burley, Martin Webster and Bob Iverson. Now, let's just talk about last year to start with, because last year was quite incredible. I've never been in an event like it. The snow was coming down. I had a snowball thrown at the car at Red Lion Square. I got into the gates at Barnock Road and wasn't even sure that I'd quite make it to the tent. But it was wonderful, wasn't it? And actually, out of the 900, you had, at least half actually come and run.
Yes, we had over 450 people turn up on the day, and you are right, it turned out to be a wonderful winter's day, but I also have to say we could do without it this year.
Yes, I can well imagine. So you very nearly get 1,000 people running that 3-lap course, that 5 kilometres. How long have you been doing it for, the Santa Fun Run now?
12 years have been going, and last year we actually had over 900 people registered, of which you say 450 turned up on a pretty appalling day, but had a lot of fun when they got there.
And you get the Santa suit, you also make some money for charity. That's really what it's all about, isn't it, Bob?
Yeah, very much so. As an organisation, basically we believe in having fun, but in the same time committing to good causes, particularly in the local area. And this year, in addition to the charities which are directly linked to the Santa Fun Run, we've tried to put the money where we think it'll do the most good. And This year we've been supporting the Shack project on the recreation ground, which is run from the Methodist Church by their youth outreach program, basically trying to give young teenagers, many of which who have either one parent working, there's no one at home when they come home from school, somewhere where teenagers can hang out together, somewhere safe, basically, hopefully keep out of trouble and also get fed. And this year we're donating up to £1,000 to provide an outdoor table tennis table, a sort of fairly large static structure, and hopefully that'll encourage a few more to come and basically do what teenagers do best, which is hanging out with their friends and having a good time. And that's run by a guy called Luke Donnelly, who's the youth outreach worker from the Methodist Church.
And then there's also the other charities, as you say, that are attached to the Santa Fun Run.
Well, yeah, also in the on the community side, we're supporting SHEP this year, which is an add-on to the Stamford Food Bank, which does tremendous work for those most in need. And the SHEP programme, which is Stamford Housing Essentials programme, helps people out, often moving into council rented accommodation. But unlike a lot of councils, South Kesteven doesn't actually provide the white goods or essentials to go with the rental property, and these people are obviously on hard up and can't manage. So the SHEP project provides the white goods, and it also provides furniture and things. Most of those are donated, but with the white goods, you can't just donate a washing machine and then hand it on. You have to have it serviced, and you have to have the special safety checks to make it all safe, and all that costs money. So we're donating £500 to the refurbishment and safety checking of the white goods. The other thing that happens, particularly in harsh winters, like the last one, is some hard-up families end up with the awful choice of do they eat or do they heat. And one thing that SHEP does do is occasionally, in the most needy cases, provide emergency energy grants where they'll go around and top up their meters for them so they don't freeze. You know, last winter was a big one with the beast from the east and all of that. So we've contributed £500 to a fund to allow them to continue doing these emergency energy grants. And as the winter progresses, we'll review that, and hopefully, depending on how our autumn fundraising goes, we might be able to top that up if the usage gets higher than anticipated.
So
yes.
those are committed funds that you've already got in addition to those particularly for the Santa Fun Run?
Yes.
Fabulous stuff. It's amazing how much actually that organisations such as yourself actually do in the community and are able to help so many people. You know, we see the odd cheque being presented, but what we don't realise is that's probably one of about 10 that you're probably doing all at the same time. How wonderful is that? Well done, everyone, actually, to do with the Rotary in Stamford. So let's talk about the charities that actually the Stamford Santa Fun Run actually is particularly targeting.
Well, this year we're going to specialise, as we normally do, on charities which are local and of interest, hopefully, to local people. In particular, this year we're endorsing the Sue Ryder organisation at Thorpe Hall because it is a wonderful hospice, and not just a hospice, but a medical facility in our area. And they work very hard and are very enthusiastic. So we feel they're a good cause. We are also this year, for the first time, supporting Phoebe Research, which is a very specialised charity run primarily by Zoe Crowson. And she's been extremely successful over the last 5 or 6 years in drawing attention to this terrible skin disease which Phoebe, her daughter, was born with. And that's a very local cause, and one we think which is excellent. And finally, we're again giving to Mind in memory of Wendy Hetherington, who was the daughter of one of our Rotarians who died sadly last year. And here again, we think it's a very good local cause.
Absolutely. And I know there is actually a registration fee for this. For that, you get a Santa suit as well. You'd love people to register early, I know, because that gives you some confidence, but also it gives them the chance to raise some further funds for those charities.
That's right. This year we've already opened the website. It opened on the 1st of September, and you can register online now. There is this year a special discount of £1 for adult runners who register before the 31st of October. And then it's going up to the normal rate of 14, so it's a considerable saving. And we hope it will encourage people to register early, because frankly it makes it easier for us if we have an earlier indication of how many are coming. Obviously there's quite a lot of organisation involved in this event, both from the safety point of view, organising the suits, the beards, and of course the mince pies and the free mulled wine for those of the correct age. So the early warning is good for us.
It's just the most magical day, and I will never ever forget the snowy one. But whatever the weather's like, it's the 9th of December, it's the second Sunday, and it'll always be a spectacle. So I hope you get the usual hundreds coming along. If people would like to find out more, you have the world's easiest website address, don't you, for this?
We do. It's www.stamfordsantafunrun.com, and it's up and running. There's lots of information on it, as well as ability to register.
And you may well even get a leaflet through the post as well, because I know there's, nearly 50,000 leaflets that you're actually managing to distribute?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sticking our logo on as well, and we're very proud to support it. And Martin Webster and Bob Iverson from the Rotary Club of Stamford Burley, thanks for joining us and talking. We managed to get through the whole of that without talking about the word Christmas, We don't know how we did it, but thank you very much for coming in.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
I'm here at Caston College, one of the last that we've been to today for the world's biggest coffee mornings. It's been a whole day event. I'm here with the head boy and head girl. This is the whole school, isn't it, coming together for this?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So what sort of stuff have people been doing? Obviously baking cakes and stuff.
Yeah, so we have people that have brought in cakes that they are either homemade or they've bought them from the shops, but it's just a nice way to bring everyone together with obviously the food, which will be very popular with the whole year, with all the years.
So responsibilities, head boy and head girl. I missed out on that by one. I was deputy, so I remember that sort of stuff well. But what sort of stuff do you get involved with?
So we usually get involved with all events that the school need us to do, so like open evenings. And then if they need us to do lunchtime events and break time events, then we're more than happy to help out with that.
Haven't you just had your open evening, actually?
Yeah, we did, but we kind of, for the first time, we did a swap. So the lower years, head boy and girl, they did a speech, but we did ours before the summer. But yeah, it's just a nice way to get as well the younger years involved. But yeah, but we still had to be here and do different departments if we were included with them. So yeah.
Is anyone counting how much money's being raised today? Do you have any idea yet?
I don't think anybody's going to count it up till the end of the day, no, but we're hoping to have a large amount for a large school.
Yeah, definitely.
And what do you know about Macmillan and the cause that you're supporting today?
I know that it's volunteers who help cancer patients who are struggling and who feel like they're alone. So they are there to help, but they need money to be supported. So I feel like this is a really nice thing to do because cakes are very, very popular, especially with younger people. So
with everyone, don't worry.
Definitely.
It crosses all ages.
Yeah, so if you can get as much cake and then the money just continues to grow, really. So it's all for a great cause, basically.
And favourite cake, do you have one?
I like a good chocolate cake with lots of icing. That's kind of my go-to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd probably have to agree with that one, definitely.
Fabulous. Well done for all you've done today. Look forward to finding out how much you've raised.
Thank you.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
I'm here with Julian Carter at Hambleton Bakery's 10th anniversary. And 10 years... It's come so far as well, hasn't it? The whole business has come so far.
It's completely changed. When I first started, there was 3 of us, Mark, Scott and me, and we did the shop. We even drove the one van that we had. We did everything ourselves. Now we've got 98 staff, all locally employed as well. We've got 7 vans, 150 wholesale customers and 6 shops. It's completely changed as a business, and we never thought that would ever happen. We wish we had a bigger building now.
But for you, you're still getting up in the middle of the night all these years on, still doing what bakers do, still right at the heart of it.
Not quite as bad as it sounds, to be fair. It was that I just never stopped working, and it was all night shifts through to day shifts. Now I sort of float between 2 shifts, so I can be on nights or days, depending where I'm needed or where I'm not needed sometimes, just to keep my eye on things. Now I still bake, and I still make bread, and I still make cakes, and I still come up with ideas. So yeah, I'm still very much a blue-collar worker, shall we say.
And a 10th generation baker, you wouldn't have been able to influence that. that, but looking back through the generations.
Well, I reckon it's a curse. We must have done something wrong. We must have upset a gypsy somewhere, and they've cursed us. We're never going to sleep at night, and which it's going to last 10 generations. But I think I'm the last one. My son doesn't want to be a baker, or my daughter, so I'm assuming I might be the last one.
You eat out and there's bread with your meal. You can tell it's Hambleton bread.
We make bread with principles. We use local ingredients, so we back the local economy with the eggs, the milk, the cheeses, everything we buy, the flour from the local windmills, and we turn it into bread just with old-fashioned recipes and long methods. Long fermentation. Time is the one thing, not time the herb obviously, is the one thing that everybody takes out of everything these days, and it's the most important ingredient. And I always say, if you put good things in, like good flour, good eggs, good milk, somebody else has done all the hard work. You've just got to not burn it, really, and you've got a good product. So yeah, we use other people's skills to make us look good.
And you've been nationally known through this process, particularly obviously when the ITV show was on Britain's Best Bakery.
That was 2012. We were asked to enter it, so we entered it. We had no idea when we get to the final. I would say my favourite day was when we beat Wales and Scotland in one day. With a little Rutland, beat them all.
And that's the thing, isn't it? This incredible little area right in the middle of the country does amazing things.
We're spoilt for ingredients around here. I never struggled to find good ingredients. You only got to walk round the corner and you can find a good butcher, a professional, skilled butcher, not just someone who's chopped handsawing meat up, things like that. You can find eggs that are in free range, proper free range, not the old little barn door where chickens never go out. You've got milk from beaver dairy straight out the cow, in milk churns, like it used to be. It's not a shock to actually find that in the olden days people bought locally all the time. There was no question of getting it anywhere else. I mean, the only reason we're not organic is because we want to use local produce. Otherwise we could be organic because most of our flowers and things are. It's just a matter of the fact that local produce is more important. And we don't just buy local because it is local, we buy it because it's good quality.
Julian Carter, happy 10th anniversary to what you and Tim built on that first day. You just can't imagine, what it's like now, really.
No, and people do forget that Tim Martin, equally as important in this business, he's not in the nighttime baking, but all the other stuff he puts together is just as important. And we forget things like that sometimes. We think, he's just there to take the money, but he's not. He actually contributes a massive amount to it too.
Rutland Radio's Best Bits on the podcast.
What an amazing weekend this is. I'm actually aboard the Flying Scotsman. I can prove that I'm aboard the Flying Scotsman because if I pull this... Oh! Why did it work for you and not for me?
I'm special.
Yeah, so that's like the most enormous log burner that's been blazing away for a while. And off we go at 7 o'clock tonight. So this is the start of the big weekend really for you here.
Well, it's a coal burner. We don't burn logs.
No.
But
I mean,
yeah.
It's, in terms of like, if you had this in your living room, this would heat half the street.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, half the town probably. Yeah. Big weekend for the railway. All sold out for the next 3 days.
What an honour to have the most famous steam train here, actually, on the historic railway.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. In its day, the Flying Scotsman used to pass by the end of our railway anyway. In its day, so it's really nice to have it here, so we can run it on the Nene Valley.
And has it been completely crazy, the attention that you've got ever since you've mentioned the word? I mean, the website didn't last very long, for instance, when the tickets went up.
Yeah, the fish and chip trains, they sold out in half an hour. The website crashed and we had to get a new website provider. It's a bit Scotsman mania, really.
And I suppose, actually, this is an amateur railway. This is actually staffed by people who love it, volunteers.
Yeah, apart from a few paid staff who are here all the time, it's all volunteers here tonight, and all the volunteers are here all weekend.
So it's going from here at Wansford up to Orton Mere at Peterborough and back again?
Yeah, we go all the way down to Peterborough, where we take on the fish and chips, and the diners get fed. Then we come back to Wansford, and then do it all again in the dark.
What's your role? Are you actually here in the... What do you call this?
On the footplate.
On the footplate, of course you do.
Yeah, so I'm driving tonight. I'm a volunteer here.
You're driving the Scotsman tonight?
I get to drive Flying Scotsman tonight, yeah.
Is this the first for you?
No, I've driven it before, luckily, so I get the second chance.
And what's it like?
Oh, it's awesome. It's very good.
You must have to think ahead, I guess, a lot.
Yeah, well, you're trained and you have to pass exams to drive the engines anyway, so you have to be competent to do it. So it's good fun.
And what sort of speeds are we expecting?
Because we're a preserved railway, we only do 25 miles an hour, but it seems a lot faster.
Yeah, as far as I can see. Someone with a light on.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.